Okay, y'all, welcome back to the Black and White Forge chess lessons. We're going to talk about the battle between the bishops and the knights. And some people say that the bishop is more valuable than the knight, but that's not true. It just depends on how you use each piece and what you do with all the other ideas in the position to make the piece a good piece or bad piece. So if you have a bishop blocked in by its pawns, then it's not more powerful than the knight because it's really useless. So when I say it depends on what's going on with the other pieces in the position, I mean, like, how are they, like the pawns, for example, are on the board too. So you have a bishop blocked in by its own pawns. If you got rid of these pawns, the bishop might be would be more powerful than the knight if it was an open position. But in this position, it's closed, and the knight is in a closed position where he's comfortable at, and the bishop's guarding that pawn on e2, while the king's guarding the c2 pawn. So the fact that white is on the defensive puts him in a bad position. They're both worth the same amount of points, both 3 points, and as far as point count is concerned. And even though white is a pawn up and has a move, he could resign because right here, look, king c1, king a1. Okay. King d1, king b2. Notice he's choking this square off, so he can't come back now. He's got only to go further by white having to move back with the king or moving the bishop. That gives the black a chance to take the pawn if the king moves. They start, these two, the bishop and the knight start out equal, but as the position starts opening up or closing up, however you move your pieces is going to depend on whether they're good or not. If you put the knight in an open board where he could be attacked, then he's in a bad position. If you manipulate your pieces to where the other pieces around to where they don't allow breathing room for the knight or the bishop, then you're causing your own pieces to suffocate. So knights like advanced support points and bishops like open diagonals. So either way, if white decides to not move here and plays bishop here or here, let's just say he plays here, then the knight's going to come over here anyways, take that pawn, and then white's going to have to move again. He can come back. Say white comes down, bishop f1, pawn's going to come down check, and when the king moves, we checkmate because it's going to make the queen or a rook. So just because someone says the bishop is worth more doesn't mean it's true. This is the first imbalance, the minor pieces, and we're going to go into how to make your knight or bishop more powerful than your opponent. So bishops don't like to be put on the same color as their pawns. Gives them no breathing room. Knights like to be on advanced support points. Go to another position. I have to set these. So here. pull up this board. So, rule number 1 is that they're both equal. They're both worth the same amount of points. Rule 2 is bishops are better placed on open positions where pawns don't block their diagonals. This one, no matter if it's White's turn to move, no matter what he does, this bishop's long range prevents any of these pawns from queening. If you place that one up, the bishop's just going to take it. And the knight can't do really much over there. Because even if he does come out here, let's say he goes here, black's going to queen anyways. The bishop protects this square. And even if these pawns move up, even if the knight was to come over, I don't know, let's say the pawn wasn't there. If the knight was over here, well, the knight would have to get there to be able to protect this pawn, which would block bishop's attack on this square, so he could push up. But the knight wouldn't be able to do that in that position. The bishop's long-range power right there, he's all the way over here, and he influences everything on this side of the board. And no matter what white does, no matter what pawn move or knight move, he's either going to push the pawn down to queen, or attack one of those pawns, or take one of those pawns, I should say. So bishops like open diagonals, where there's no pawns sitting on them. Open positions where pawns don't block their diagonals. As the positions start opening up, like the cinder pawns start getting traded off, it'll become more and more likely that bishops will be valued more than knights, because they can travel faster and attack more squares. The knight has to hop around. If he wants to control a specific square, he has to do so many moves. The bishop can just get there from point A to point B. And rule number 3 is the bishops are very strong in endgames. Both sides have pawns that are pass pawns heading towards their queening squares. In those kind of situations, the long-range capabilities of a bishop make it way more superior to the slow, short-range knight. One second, man. Okay. So bishops, second rule is that they're best in open positions where pawns don't block their diagonals. Let's look at an example. Another example. Set up the board right quick. Figured it's about time I start doing chess lessons and start using this board. I bought this months ago. So, I hope you guys like these videos. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm not trying to do this like, you know, like a professional style teaching. Just what I've learned from who I consider, in my opinion, the best chess teacher ever, Jeremy Silman. What I learned from his books, I'm sharing with y'all, because they are really, really, really good. Go buy his Amateur's Mind, Silman's in-game course, and what do you call it? How to Reassess Your Chess, 3rd edition, and 4th edition. I got both those books. They are so good, y'all. I mean, you really should go buy them. They're literally that good. Where's the other book? Okay, I'm missing. No, wait, it's right here. You see the board pretty well too, right? Okay. Here we go. So after E4, E5, D4, E pawn takes the D4 pawn. C3, D takes C3. Bishop C4, C takes B2, Bishop takes B2. You see the power of the board sweeping bishops. And how much power they could possess. Those wide open diagonals allow the bishops to reach their full potential. Look at them just striking down the whole middle of the board and the king side. This bishop's attacking the F7 pawn. This one's attacking this pawn, which prevents it from coming out, because then he could take rook and b5 points up. So in that position, you see how the bishops are on open diagonals. See black had wasted too many moves, getting too greedy, allowing white to be up in development, which is one of the imbalances. And you never want to do that. Let's see. In the endgame, bishops are really strong because they could go across the whole board in no time, just one move, while knights have to go hopping all over the place. Okay. The phrase bad bishop means that your bishop is situated on the same color. This is rule number 4. On the same color as your center pawns, which block it and limit its activity. If you have such a bishop, you usually want to do one of 3 things. 1, you trade it for a piece of equal value or more. 2, you get the pawns off the color of your bishop. Let's say you have a dark square bishop, and if you got your pawns on dark squares, you get those pawns off that color so your bishop can be free to roam. Or 3, you get the bishop outside the pawn chain. It will still be bad by definition, but it will also be an active piece. A bad bishop can be a strong piece. Let's use this example. Someone told me that in the last video wasn't that much light, so I got this like lamp. I got this lamp so it would be lot brighter for y'all. Hopefully you can see better. This looks over here. So, white bishop on c4 is bad, but it's active since it's outside the pawns. See, these pawns are on light squares. He's outside. He's not blocked in. You know, which this couldn't happen because just say he was over here. That would never happen. But you get the point. He's on this position. In this position, he's inside the pawn. Oops, pawn chain. How here, he's outside it. This is the pawn chain. It's like a fence. He's outside of it, and he's actively attacking into the enemy camp on the queen side, central squares, and the king side. Even though it's considered bad bishop, it's still a very strong piece. If it stood on e2, also, it would be very inactive and fully deserving of the name bad. The black bishop on c6 is considered to be good because even though it's not nearly as active as white, it's got all of its pawns on dark squares. So he's not blocked in. He's not a dark square bishop like here, blocked in by his own pawns. He's on the opposite color of all these pawns. So if you want to know if your bishop's a good bishop, look at the pawns, what color they're mostly on. If you see that they're mostly on the same color that he's on, since he's on a light square, you want to get these pawns off that square to make them active. You also want to be smart about it. You don't want to push your pawns to where they end up getting taken for free. You got to be wise about pushing your pawns to make room for your bishop. Because if you push them too far, you can create some cracks in your position where white could just flood in and start taking over everything, just bombarding your behind your fence, so to speak. Because it's like a fence mapping out your territory. This is black's territory. This is white's territory. What this example shows us is that good and bad terms are useful for basic definitions, but don't take them too literally. In general, if your bishop is serving a useful function, you can happily toss the good and bad terminology out the window. As rule number 4. Rule number 5 for bishops is that its weakness is that it is stuck on one color for the whole game. Like for example, this bishop, the whole entire game it will always be a light square bishop. Same with this one. A dark square bishop would be only on the dark squares for the whole entire game. That's one of its weakness. That's its weakness. The weakness of the bishop is that it's on one color. Anything that's resting on the other color is safe from its attack. Two bishops work together very well though, you guys, so if you can use two bishops or keep two bishops, always do that because they control all the colors of the squares. And if your opponent has two bishops, try to get rid of one of them and use the advantage of their weaknesses. Like, say, black had two bishops, but somehow white got rid of this bishop with his knight. And let's say after all the pawns get traded, you're going to want to make use of the dark squares. This makes his dark squares weak. So you can use your rooks to control a lot of the dark squares because he can't do nothing about it. But he also has to, the rooks have to be, and the queen has to be careful that they don't get put on the same diagonal. Like this pawn is protecting the queen. But when all this gets traded off, try to use your rooks to control squares, or your knights to control squares that are opposite of the bishop that they have, opposite color of the bishop that they have. Black has a light squared bishop. So if white had a knight, he could set it right here and protect it somehow, some way. Let's say by bringing, let's say these two get traded off. And let's just say, oops, you made it boppy all around a bit. I'm trying to, you guys will have to forgive me. I'm trying to do this to where I don't knock the camera off. Here, let me just get these pieces over here. So let's just say, let me readjust you guys. Sorry. Let's just say there was a knight here. And the queen's right here. The queen protecting the knight. The knight is on a dark square. The bishop's on a light square. The bishop can never attack that knight. So as long as the knight can maintain this square, he protects squares in black's camp. So like, for example, the rooks can't come over here and double up, creating power on this e-file, because the knight will just take it. And he's only 3 points. He's 5 points. He's way more valuable than him. And rooks are really powerful battering rams. Like, really powerful. If you get two of them on an open file, they do a lot of damage, especially if they get on the second rank. Okay. Okay, let's try another. Let's try another situation. Another position, I should say. Two white pawns. D4, king blocks. Now we got two bishops. Things are pain in the ass to see. Oh, shoot, I thought I grabbed the bishop. Come on, where the hell are you? There we go. So, bishop on d4 and bishop on c4. White's 2 pawns ahead in this diagram, but you can't win because his bishop is useless. His bishop's on light squares, and he doesn't have dark squares to help. Notice what the next squares that these pawns got to go to are dark squares, and he only has a light square bishop, so they're screwed because they got nowhere else to go to be protected because they lack a dark square bishop. It's not capable of chasing the black king away from e5 or f6, and they can't help the white pawns advance. Give white another bishop on e1 and black another on d7. Creating a 2 bishop versus 2 bishop situation, and we will see a different result. Now both colors can be controlled in bishop h4 check, king g7, e5, sets the pawns rolling down to the end, to queen. Now, bishop takes, king takes. Then you push this pawn up. and I don't know about the rest of the situation, but White won't have to worry about Black stopping him, because he's got this pawn that can move, and maybe he can push this king up somewhere around here where he can get that pawn queen. I don't know. That's 5 rules for the bishop. I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to go over the knights on the next video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I hope you guys find this interesting. Obviously I'm not the best teacher, but this is practice for me. So, and the more I learn, I'm learning this with y'all. The more I learn, probably the better I'll be able to explain it. So I will see y'all in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.